Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation today on exercise. This is Dr. TJ at iMolecular. Please feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's talk a little today about exercise and health. We all know that exercise is very important to our health. Now, many of us know this, but we still don't have a regular exercise program. Some of us know this and we could be doing a little bit better, and maybe some of us are doing great on our exercise program. Now, I often hear my clients telling me, I got my 10,000 steps today, but I really want to be clear. One of the things in our society is we are very sedentary, and we have so much technology at our fingertips that we have even become probably more sedentary and less active in the past 10 to 20 years than people were 30, 40, or 50 years ago, because life is easy and life is convenient. And so I always stress to my clients, and sometimes people groan or mumble, or they roll their eyes, or they look at me with this blank stare because they've got things going on in their head. And I will tell them, 10,000 steps is not exercise, and 10,000 steps is not a substitute for exercise. To be clear, 10,000 steps is a minimum activity level that we should all strive for in a day. When we are exercising, we are looking at having repetitive or repeated and structured forms of activity. It means that we are putting our athletic clothes on and we are engaging in some form of mild to moderate to very intense exercise. When we are exercising, we want to increase our heart rate. We want to increase our cardiac output. If you're not familiar with cardiac output, that is how much volume of blood your heart is pumping out in a minute. We also want to increase circulation. So when we're exercising, we are bringing in more oxygen. That oxygen comes into our lungs. It enters our red blood cells. Then our red blood cells are circulated all throughout the body, and the red blood cells are going to provide oxygen to the tissues and to our cells. Our cells build tissues, and our tissues build our organs. So all of that oxygen is being delivered to our cells for metabolism and overall health. Also, exercise benefits our cardiovascular as well as our cardiorespiratory system. So it helps to strengthen our lungs and it helps to strengthen our heart. Now, exercise doesn't just benefit the cardiovascular and cardiorespiratory system, it benefits our entire body. Our endocrine system is composed of many glands in our body. So among those are the pineal, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the thyroid, the parathyroids, our pancreas, and also our adrenal glands. And our gonads are also considered to be endocrine. Our reproductive organs are considered to be endocrine organs as well because they release hormones. So exercise helps to benefit and balance our hormone levels as well. And we're not just talking about estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. We're also looking at other endocrine hormones in our body, our LH, our FSH, our growth hormone. Exercise has a big impact on the release of growth hormone as well. And then it also benefits our immune system. When we are exercising, that helps to mobilize our white blood cells, and white blood cells are phagocytic. If you're not familiar with the term phagocytic, that means to eat or engulf. So white blood cells are the cells that come along and they gobble up all of the organisms such as bacteria and fungus and viruses or any other toxins in our body. The white blood cells gobble that up and dispose of them, and it helps to protect us from getting sick. So exercise actually stimulates those white blood cells. So what are some basics for exercise? So the first thing is I also talk to some clients, and I even have family members who they don't like to exercise, and they grumble about it and they complain about it, and they're like, I don't want to exercise. Now that is really foreign to me because I love my exercise. It is one of the highlights of my day. And I love being at the gym. I love working my body. I love how I feel when I'm exercising, and even after I've exercised, to feel like I just did something really good for myself. I love pushing those heavy weights at the gym, and I love that feeling. The endorphins that we get from exercise are also beneficial for us. So one thing is to find something that you enjoy doing, and then develop an exercise program that works for you, okay? Now, ideally, it's usually best to exercise in the morning. But if you can't exercise in the morning, find another time during the day where you can commit to it. I generally exercise mid-afternoon. I used to exercise in the morning, but as I've gotten older and I've had more demands on me with my work schedule, it's easier for me to get up, to start my day, to do a little bit of work, wake my body up, and then go to the gym around lunchtime as kind of a break in my day to kind of let go of that work-related stress, and then to be able to come home and relax. So find a time to exercise that works for you. And also during that time, you really want to focus on your body and doing something good for your body. Focus on the movements that you're participating in. Now, a minimum of 3 days a week, 30 to 60 minutes is a good place to start. Maybe you can't exercise every day because you have a family, you have work, and your schedule is just crazy. Maybe you have a family, you're in school, and you're working, and you have a million things going on. And sometimes it can be hard, but finding 3 days a week where you can engage in exercise, that repeated structured routine, where you're increasing your heart rate, you're working, you're getting your cardiovascular system pumping. And then another thing is to make sure you're drinking more water, right? 60 to about 100 ounces of water a day, depending on what your activity level is. If you work outside during the day, or you have a job that requires you to be on your feet all day, or maybe you have a labor position where you're doing manual labor during the day, you need to be drinking more water. What about some other healthy tips? So again, drinking more water, which I said on the last slide, cutting out excess sugar, so candy, baked goods, sodas, and cut out your simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates do not contain the right types of calories. They are not dense in nutrients. So simple carbs would be things like white bread, white pasta. White potatoes actually are very high on something called the glycemic index. If you want to know more about the glycemic index, I have a podcast on my webpage where you can learn about what the glycemic index is. But basically, the glycemic index is a measurement of how carbohydrates are converted to sugars. And white potatoes, although they taste really, really good, they actually are very high on the glycemic index. That means they are readily converted into sugar. And this is why many physicians will tell their patients that are diabetic to also cut out any foods that are white bread, white pastas, white potatoes. So simple carbs are the ones that are bad for us. They don't contain a lot of energy. They get converted to sugar very easily. Sugar in the body gets stored as fat. Also processed foods, right? So cut out processed foods. Next, you want to look at cutting out saturated fats and hydrogenated oils. So saturated fats are the fats that are bad for us, that lead to high cholesterol and high LDL and also high triglycerides. Sugar can also lead to high triglycerides. So saturated fats are mostly found in animal products, especially red meat. So sorry for all you meat eaters out there. If you like your red meat, make sure you're buying organic and buying the lean cuts. Also, we find that saturated fats are found in dairy products. So if you love ice cream like I do, it's better to buy the non-dairy types of ice cream. Buying the grass-fed organic ice creams are a little bit better, but dairy products are still high in saturated fat. Hydrogenated oils are bad oils, and they are found in our baked goods. So you want to avoid those hydrogenated oils. They are going to increase our LDL cholesterol levels as well. So one example of a hydrogenated oil is palm oil. And unfortunately, if you like to buy some of the nut butters, almond butter, cashew butter, even some peanut butter oil, peanut butter, they are putting hydrogenated oils, especially palm oil, in the nut butters. So make sure that you're reading your food labels to get a good understanding of what types of oils are in your food products. Also, many breads and baked products are made with hydrogenated oils. So it's better to buy things that are made in avocado oil or coconut oil or even olive oil, coconut oil, or avocado oil. Those are 3 good ones. The bad thing about coconut oil, which we'll talk about in the future, is that coconut oil is actually a saturated fat. So there's good and bad to it because coconut oil does have benefits, but it is considered a saturated fat, and saturated fats are not good for us. But there are other chemicals in coconut oil that make it healthy for us. So I always advise my clients to use coconut oil in moderation. Another thing that we can do, some healthy tips, eat organic fruits and vegetables to avoid pesticides, because there is a link between pesticides and increased risk for cancer or just overall people not feeling very well or having health problems as a result of pesticide exposure. There's also a lot of research studies out there. Farmers who use pesticides have problems with infertility or have actually had children that have been born with birth defects as a result of being exposed to the pesticides that are on our crops. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're aware of the foods that you are buying, what pesticides they're sprayed with, or if they're organically grown. Also keep in mind some products say they're organic, but pesticides are still used on them. So do some research on the fruits and vegetables that you're buying. Another thing, make sure you're getting regular sleep and that you have a regular sleep and wake schedule. That can help to keep you balanced and consistent. And then, of course, stress management. Now, exercise is also great for alleviating stress. I know that when I go to exercise, it's my time to think, to work through problems, to feel better. Again, you've got all those endorphins circulating through your body that can help elevate your mood. So use exercise also as a form of stress management. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for my future videos.